sister locks are in check. Girl, I love them. By the way, they are totally stress-free. Super. Hey, did you know that your mind has so much power over your body? And the communication between your mind and body is extremely important. And when something goes wrong in that communication, your body becomes mteja hapatikani. And I don't mean you're dead, but the functionality just goes a bit crazy. And I want to talk about somatization. This is a condition where you show physical symptoms, but when you go to hospital, there's no diagnosis given. And the first disorder I want to talk about is somatic symptoms disorder. This is where you show physical symptoms of headache. It can be stomachache, it can be back pains, it can be body pains, or weakness of some sort, or shortness of breath. And you go to hospital with those symptoms, and tests are run, and there's zero diagnosis. This can be very disturbing for any patient or the caregiver of the patient. And because you're wondering, you're saying that I'm not sick, that it's all in my head. Are you saying that I'm faking it? But that's not the case. Literally, there is communication. You know, I've heard that there's something called kupotea. There are people who put their phones on something called kupotea. So you call them, the phone somehow rings like it's not going through. But he's kupotead from people so that probably asitishwe madeni. So what happens, I'm thinking, is that your body kupoteas your brain, as in there's like a disconnect. Why? Because your mind is stressed. There's anxiety. There is pressure. There is sometimes depression. And there's a mental illness going on in your mind. And therefore, it shoots wrong information to your body. And therefore, you start feeling pain when there's no disease in your body. Somatic symptoms disorder can be very crazy. However, for you to be diagnosed on it, they need to observe it probably for 6 months so that they see really there's something that we are not getting here. There's also something else called illness anxiety disorder. Mimi, I got it. During COVID, especially when it started, I was among the people who, when you sleep at night, I would wake up with a lot of panic that I'm not breathing, that I'm having shortness of breath. And my friend, it felt so real. So real. I look for water, I drink, and I do those exercises we were being told to do, and I'm very historical. I was fine. And if I went out with my friends that evening, I cough. Now maybe it's just water or mate has nyongad me. I'm down. I start feeling like life is ending. I've gotten COVID. This I'm just giving as an example, but sometimes it can be very serious. And I'm sure during that period, there are many people who got illness anxiety disorder. It's all in the mind. But your body will literally feel like you're sick. You'll even feel like you have a fever. But temperature shows you're good. So this illness disorder is basically an anxiety, a preoccupation of an illness. But that illness is not there. And basically there are no physical symptoms. The other one is conversion disorder. This one is a bit scary. Why? Because your neurological function are impaired. For example, you can have numbness, you can faint, you can go blind, you can have impaired hearing, and things just don't operate normal. You go to hospital, they run tests, all manner of tests. And I'm sure if it's your child, you'll seek 5 opinions, medical opinions, but then they come out with 0 diagnosis. This becomes very depressing. I remember one time when I had a story of a guy who was engaged to this lady. Then they got off, the engagement was cut off. The guy was so stressed that he got blind. Can you imagine somebody getting blind because of stress? That was very depressing for him. I've also seen a child who is in school, goes to school, but then during the term, they start fainting. They say they have crazy headaches. They come home, go to hospital. They are diagnosed with zero medical condition. And this becomes very distressing for parents or the caregiver, the person who is showing the symptoms. And it is something that we need to check out. And the one thing is this, it's a serious condition because it will require treatment. But the treatment is where you will combine a physician, a psychiatrist, and a psychologist. They will need to work with the patient till they feel better. Now, what I would say is this, is that don't allow yourself to have stress to the point that you get these symptoms. Ensure that you are checking out yourself, that you are in touch with your emotions, because you do not want to go mteja or kupotea with your brain and mind. You need to be chonjo. So that's all for today, and goodbye, and I love you. See ya.